Hello everybody and welcome back to my weekly update video where I'm going to be going over any news related to the old school RuneScape community this week. I'm going to be going over any game updates, community news, or Q&A recaps, although once again the Q&A was cancelled this week. Apparently there weren't enough people in the office to do it. Whatever, we'll get a Q&A next week. However, we have received a lot of news regarding account security, bounty hunter, and there's just a lot of stuff to talk about. So anyway guys, hope you enjoy and let's get started. Okay, now let's start off with the account security blog, as it seems pretty topical now with what happened this week. Now, there's been a dedicated team working on an account security blog for a long time, and account security is something that a lot of people have been worried about because there is rampant hacking in RuneScape, and just this week, a couple streamers got falsely banned. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Now let's have a look at what the web team and the player support team have to say about account security. Okay, so it has been a long time since the last update. They said they've just gone live today with website login authenticator checks and work to continue on further authenticator improvements. Now, I am assuming what that means is when you log into the RuneScape website, you will have to put in an authenticator. Now, the biggest problem right now with the authenticator is not the authenticator itself, but how easy it is to remove. Generally, the way people's accounts get hacked is through the lowest degree of security. Like, for example, they may have a good security on the RuneScape account, but their email associated with it is extremely weak and has no protection. Now, one solution that gets put forward a lot is Authenticator Delay. An Authenticator Delay would give you a chance to block any attempt to remove your authenticator by someone with access to your email address. However, introducing the delay could also create a number of issues. Number one, it requires you to respond to any alerts during the delay period. Any email alert by design relies on an email that's been sent to your compromised email account. Obviously, whomever has control of your account email can easily delete this. If your email is deleted, you risk missing the alert should you happen to not log in during the delay period. There's the added complication of the email potentially being sent to your junk or spam folder. And if there's a hijacker that gets into your account and sets their own authenticator delay, it would keep you out of the game even longer. Okay, so those are legitimate concerns. However, there's no reason not to do it in my opinion. However, to avoid these flaws, we're taking a different approach to improving authenticator security, and that is backup codes. Now, I personally am a fan of backup codes. One big concern with myself for Authenticator, like I have Authenticator for a lot of different accounts, really important ones too, is if you do happen to lose your phone number, and that does happen. I've worked in the call center before and that gets fucked up a lot. That is why I'm legitimately never changing my service provider. I don't trust them to migrate my number to a new provider. That stuff gets fucked up all the time, and there is a real possibility of losing your phone to log into your accounts. And I don't even know how you'd fix that after. However, one thing that's given me a lot of peace of mind with that is backup codes. Now, what they are with a lot of other programs is they are one-time use codes that you can generate in advance. You either write them down somewhere or keep them in a text document, although probably not recommended. Okay, so anyway, backup codes in RuneScape. We intend to introduce a backup code system. This would mean you'll receive a backup code during the Authenticator setup that you'll need to write down and keep in a safe space. This will be used to remove your Authenticator if you don't have access to it anymore and prevents compromised emails from being used to steal your account. In preparation for backup codes, we've already added authenticator checks for all website logins. If you do lose your backup code, you can get a new one when you log in and pass your authenticator check. If you don't like the idea of using a backup code and you're 100% confident in the security of your email address, then you can continue using the old method. Now, once this is live, if you lose your authenticator and your backup code, it is still going to be possible to request help from the player support desk, but this process will be very strict and require very clear information to ensure that the owner of the account is who they are. Okay, so now what is their time frame for this? Adding backup codes to the Authenticator in 2020. That is going to be their number one priority. Next up, making it easier to move your Authenticator to a new device if you change phones. Yeah, that is actually a complete bitch right now. Continuing the password complexity work once we're happy with the Authenticator. Okay, so I am reasonably happy with this. I think this is a pretty good solution to some of the issues people have been having. I do still think the flaws they're pointing out with Authenticator Delay aren't actually that big of a deal, and I'm still not entirely sure why they're not pursuing that, but either way, I am happy with backup codes. Now, that is enough on account security for now. We'll have to see how that develops over the next couple of months. The other big piece of news we got this week was about bounty hunter. However, there's also the Haloween event, which I'm pretty excited to do. Halloween is here, which means it's time for the annual Halloween event, As you travel north of Lumbridge, you might notice that a player has been trapped by what appears to be 2 goblins bearing bed sheets. I wonder what those goblins are up to. This year's event unlocks brand new cosmetics as well as the previous Halloween rewards and music if you don't have them already. As always, the event is available to members and free to play and doesn't have any requirements. To begin the quest, head to the chicken pen just north of Lumbridge, indicated by the Halloween icon highlighted in the map below. Okay, so now the Bounty Hunter rework. A lot of changes coming in, and although I don't participate in Bounty Hunter, so I can't really comment on how successful it is as a bounty hunter system. However, I can say in the world of PVM, there's been a lot of overlooked items and systems. Well, let's have a look. Last week we opened the Bounty Hunter rework beta. Since then, we've had a load of feedback. The main pieces of feedback they get is the minigame needs to be more rewarding. The beta doesn't accurately represent the real bounty hunter minigame, and loose ends caused by the rework. Now, first up here we have the point system. The main feedback we received was that the new point system is not rewarding enough. To improve this, 3 points will now be awarded per kill, increasing to 4 and 5 when you begin a kill streak of 5 and 10. We'd also like to make the tasks more rewarding by increasing how quickly they cycle and the points that they award. We've also made some changes to make the beta a better simulation of a bounty hunter in the live game. Items in the chest have been limited to ones you're more likely to find players using it in the minigame. The pre-built loadouts, which are accessible via the chest, have been made more realistic, and you can no longer customize your stats at the chest. Instead, we encourage you to use the pre-built setup mentioned above. Okay, all the items in the reward shop have been recosted according to the new point system. The exception is the Rune Pouch, which is dependent on the result of an upcoming poll to make it tradable. Okay, so now let's have a look at some of the discrepancies between switching over from the old bounty hunter system. You know the emblems you get from killing revenants? Well, those have to be turned in on a bounty hunter world, and for a couple of days you were no longer able to turn those in. So a bunch of them are coming into the game and no way to get rid of them. However, as far as I'm aware, that got fixed a couple of days ago. Another big one is the Rune Pouch in the looting bag. Because these items will be unavailable from the bounty hunter reward shop, they've actually made them accessible elsewhere. Slayer Masters now sell the Rune Pouch to non-Ironmen for 1.5 mil and the looting bag for 30,000 GP. Now, to be noted, this is just a temporary fix and will be reverted at the end of the beta. Now, on the topic of the looting bag, we've adjusted its drop rates from NPCs in the wilderness. Previously, NPCs always had a 1 in 30 drop rate. Now that will scale with the combat level of the NPC. You'll expect to get a looting bag from a level 50 NPC at a rate of 1/6. And from an NPC that's level 100 at a rate of 1/3. Now I'm kind of interested to see how that scales with lower level monsters, but that is a huge buff to the drop rate. Okay, now some of the other items that had some concern with them are the Ring of Wealth and the Magic Shortbow upgrade scrolls. To alleviate the concerns of certain restricted accounts, these 2 upgrade scrolls have been added to the Wilderness Slayer loot table, and they also remain in the Bounty Hunter reward shop. The role that normally provides a Slayer enchantment scroll is now a role that has a 3 out of 6 chance to give a Slayer enchantment, 2 out of 6 to give a Ring of Wealth scroll, and 1 out of 6 to give a Magic Shortbow scroll. I think this is a good solution, and honestly, I kind of feel like they should be there anyway. Alright, so we have the new Dagenhai robes in the game. They are dropped out of the Laurent's chest at a rate of 1 out of 256. The current total magic attack bonus for the entire robe set is around 48, so that is now available in game right now, so go check it out. And that's pretty much it for content updates this week. Alright, now for community news, just a couple things I wanted to touch on. First up here, once again the Q&A is cancelled. We'll be running again next week, however no Q&A recap. Now one of the biggest stories on Reddit this week was a couple of streamers that ended up getting temporarily banned and then having it reverted right away. EVscape and I think Solo Mission had their accounts banned for a very short period of time and then unbanned, and it kind of just brought up the discussion of, well, if these players are randomly getting banned and the only reason they probably got unbanned so quickly is that they are streamers, how much further does this problem go? So there's been a lot of backlash on Reddit this week, and in my opinion, false positive bans I'm sure are extremely rare and wouldn't be such a big issue if it wasn't so hard to get a hold of a support member to fix the problem for you. I think it's pretty obvious when there's been a false ban, but the system in place for disputing it is terrible, and I'm sure there's a lot of unjustly banned accounts that have never been fixed. I'm gonna be honest, guys, there's probably a little more news out there. I was gonna go over more, but I'm literally dying My voice is almost gone, so I'm going to be gone for 2 days. I'm really sick right now. I do apologize a bit for my voice. Really, I'm just trying to pad my runtime here because I'm almost at 10 minutes. Woohoo! That's going to be it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.